Awesome. We are live, and I'm going to see right now. I'm going to pull up, I'm going to mute myself and pull up my page so I can make sure I'm sharing it to my page as well. Hmm. I see the live. Okay, great. Go ahead and go. Awesome. Hello, good folks. And I think we're 7:01. Thank y'all for tuning in and coming into this space. Welcome to the live. And yeah, we're live and going. And if you are out in Facebook land, wherever you are, if you're on Instagram, please let us know you're here and tuning in. Because this night is going to be good. For those of you who are new to my face, my name is Dr. Nikisha Ware, and tonight I'm wearing my hat of a very awesome and beautiful member of Women for Progress. And what I first love to do is just pause and give flowers where they're due to Women for Progress of Mississippi Incorporated. It's been a long force in the state, and it's an honor to kick off something as sacred and strategic with them. So I want to thank also Willie Jones. Thank you so much. Thank you for not only creating this space, but insisting that it be used. And so your leadership has edified generations of Black powerful women who are running businesses, running movements, running grassroots organizations. And tonight, I hope to offer something that continues in that legacy. Awesome. This is awesome. So, um, let's talk about first what we're doing here. And so, y'all, I want to invite you in this space, and I want you to feel comfortable. Take your shoes off because we're going to be real. This is a space to be real. I've got my little hand fan. I've got my mason jar with my straw for water. I've got my notifications turned off because I want to tune in to y'all tonight and be very faithful about this space. So if you are easily distracted, and it's easy to do with all of the things that we have at our fingertips, then turn your notifications off too, or turn the volume down, or be in a place where you're comfortable, where you are paying attention. And if you want, you can bring a notepad, you can bring a pencil that you really love writing with. And I'm going to sit here and we're going to talk. We're going to get really real. Like I said, I've got my water and got my notifications turned off. So that's what we're doing tonight. Thank you again for tuning in. And we're here to launch a new series, Real, Resourced, and Rested. But this is not just a podcast like any other podcast. It literally is a liberation lounge, a permission slip. It's a call to every woman out there who is building something, who is creating something, who has an idea in her heart that she has maybe not even been aware of all the parts that go into it, or had the courage to speak it out loud. This podcast is for you, to help you to pause, to pivot, and to prosper. We're called Real, Resourced, and Rested. And this just ain't your typical financial advice corner. This is a liberation lounge for women who are high performing, high achieving, high capacity, and high key, tired of pretending, tired of over functioning, tired of having to be the strong one all the time while still being told we're not good enough. And if that resonates with you, let us know. Let me know in the comments. In tonight's episode, this is the first episode. It's titled Money Answers All Things, but we still feel guilty about desiring it. And let's just be honest, when we talk about money, when we have money talks, it is still very much taboo in too many places, especially when it comes to Black women, especially in faith spaces, right? Especially when we've been taught that being humble means being broke. And when y'all get a break, because I want you to get a break, but when you catch a beat, I want you to go to the definition of humble. And just for hoops and giggles, I'm gonna bring up the definition. And I want to say, I don't know if it was the Sheared author or Brene Brown or someone like that I listen to and I follow. And they were saying that, do you necessarily want to be humble? We appreciate humility. We appreciate all of the things that make us approachable. But let's just read this definition of humble. Having or showing modest or low estimate of one's own importance, of low social, administrative, or political rank. Let me read that again. This is the definition for humble. Having or showing a modest or low estimate of one's own importance, of low social, administrative, or political rank rather. So sometimes we often, use our words, and we know how powerful words are, right? Life and death are in the power of the tongue. So we know how important words are, but we've been taught to be humble, and we've been taught that it's okay, that God will bless you on the other end, and that success requires sacrifice to the point of suffering. Does that resonate with anyone? Does that sound familiar? Have you heard that in school or in your religious spaces or in workspaces, to just be humble? And there is some suffering in the work and in the joy that you're supposed to be providing, right? Well, we're here tonight, and for every other Thursday at 7 o'clock on all of our platforms here at Women for Progress, we're here to undo all of that. And we're going to do it one truth at a time. We're going to release those social mores and all of those beliefs that we thought were true, but really might just have been our reality, just have been paved and passed down from one generation to the next, from one mother to the next. So we're going to revisit a lot of that. And so I'm going to just take one break, y'all, and make sure y'all are seeing this live, because I did make sure we were on the page, the Book of Faces. And yes, it's showing us live. Gorgeous. Now let me go to the page. Let's see if we're in. Okay, good deal. So we're going to be undoing all of that. So before we can talk about what real talk is, let's be very clear about something. We're not necessarily here to entertain and inspire you in this podcast series. We are here to free you. And that means no fluff, no filters, no fake deep conversations. It means naming what we've all been normalizing. And I believe not just as a community, but particularly for Black and Brown women, we normalize self-neglect, sometimes spiritual gaslighting, and financial fear. So in this series, we're going to be doing the work to uproot it. So I also want to share this with you. Although my background is in education, finance, and grant management, although I have a terminal degree in education, and I've got a stack of licenses and certifications and designations, I want you to be very clear that I am an open book. And honestly, that's the only way I know how to do this. Because I know for me, in my financial journey, it wasn't until I got really raw and honest about where I was personally, but also financially. It wasn't until I got to that space that I could really, one, ask for help, and two, receive the help. I've been through many things that most women have all gone through, right? Through trying to conceive, a marriage shift, 401k, leaving your job, been through all of those moments. And when I realized I had to roll it over and level up, right? I've been the woman who homeschooled kids, who coached clients, who paid bills with faith in a spreadsheet, and still found myself crying in the shower or late at night wondering, ruminating about all the things that I needed to do the next day and how we were going to make it happen. Wondering if I was enough, wondering what the next step is. So I bring all of that tonight and throughout the series. I bring all of that to the mic, and I'll be bringing some guests with me too. During this first series, I think it's important that I unpack for you what that will look like, just to give you an idea of what's in store. I know when I'm watching TV or on Netflix watching a new series, you know what I do? I watch the description. I want to see what it's about, because they're going to always give you the little header. They're going to give you the little tidbit to make you thirsty. You know, you got Netflix, y'all. Drop in the comments if you got Netflix. And I am not ashamed to say I love me some Netflix and Hulu. It's one of my, and I don't use the word guilty pleasure anymore. It is a way I unwind. Sometimes it's okay to have a little mindless entertainment and not feel guilty about it. That's what we're going to be talking about. But I know when they have the Netflix series and they would generally give you a little snippet, you know, the little video montage of a great scene, just to give you that idea, to whet your appetite about what the series is going to be about. I push that, because sometimes, you know, if you Netflix, yes, if you watch it too long, you know, Netflix will bump you right on into the show. You be like, wait, I don't want to watch it just yet. But I actually go to the episodes. I like to look at the episode headings. I like to look at, you know, even the episodes will have a little short description. So that's what I want to do next. Now that we've done the preliminaries, done a little housekeeping, let's talk about what you're in store for in this podcast series and why you want to tune in every other Thursday night at 7:00. Just a few of the topics. Still enslaved, the work ethic we don't talk about. Come on. Another topic we're going to be talking about when we tune in on Thursday nights at 7. That's not God, that's guilt. Somebody felt that. Another topic. You're not crazy. You're called, sis. And the final one will be, y'all, because I didn't map out all the episodes for the remainder of the year. We ain't doing this, and we're not doing that no more. And I've got amazing visionaries like many of the people you're already following. Miranda Joyner, Cassandra James Weathersby, Candy Kristoff out of Alexandria, Louisiana, and so much more coming on. These women are who you know. You may not have heard their story, but they're bringing it to you real and raw during this podcast series, so that you know what it means for us to talk real and how to lead, how to lose, how to rebuild and reclaim. That's what we're talking about. And let me say this, our approach at Divergent Life Solutions. Yes. Hello, Miss Marjorie. Thank you for tuning in, my beautiful. And my approach is, I heard a lady say it last week. Actually, Coach Cassie said this, unorthodox. And I love that word. That people might shy away from that. But it's unconventional. What I share is tried and true. It worked for me, and it just might work for you, right? It is what one lady said when I was speaking at LASAC last week in Baton Rouge. She said, well, after I had given a strategy to help and support women who are in transition, dependency, and addiction, I gave a strategy, and I'll tell you what it was. I encouraged the people who are, mind you, these are individuals who are in active recovery. They are in addiction. They are trying to get their sea legs under them. They're trying to rebuild their finances, trying to get, housing, employment. And some of them, because they are in that transition phase, they might be struggling with a little debt. They might be struggling to get utilities in their name. They might be struggling to put it all together and put themselves on a foundation where they can start rebuilding and growing. And one of the strategies I said that they could do was to call each one of their vendors, right? Another little strategy. Girl, I'll be having strategies and style strategies. One of the strategies is, instead of, because I got one around here, I'm sure. No, this ain't one, this is an envelope. But one of the strategies is to stop calling the people that you pay every month for your utilities and your phone bill. Stop calling them bill collectors, or, as my granny used to say, paymasters. Call these corporations, these businesses, because they're making money, right? Call them your contractors or your vendors. Why? Because these are people you're doing business with. Why? Because I can't go out here and lay pipe like Atmos and lay wire and cable like Energy and Comcast. But I can contract with them every month in order to make that happen. They are my vendors. They invoice me and I pay the bill. And then another strategy, even within that, is to just write thank you if you get written bills in the mail. And girl, that's another strategy. You see how I got these strategies in within each other. Another strategy, folks. If you like me, thank you, sis. If you like me, back in the day, I didn't like bills coming to the house. Baby, if they here now, I'm stacking them to put somewhere. But the feeling of getting bills in the mail around the 1st and the 15th would fill me with so much financial anxiety. And I'm gonna get back to my point about being unorthodox and irresponsible. So one little strategy within this strategy is to go ahead and do the e-bills. Go ahead and do the paperless statements. You see how they made that fun? Okay. Go ahead and do the paperless so you won't have to deal with that financial anxiety. Just because you experience the thing doesn't make it bad. What it's doing is alerting your nervous system that I may need another approach. And there's no shame in that, right? Getting rid of the shame that's associated with all the things that you're doing is the first step to getting on solid ground with your finances. Releasing the guilt, shame, and condemnation about past financial decisions and what you didn't do right. It wasn't your fault. It might be your responsibility, but it's not your fault that you weren't given the tools, that this system that we're in was designed to teach you about being on an assembly line, to be an employee, to not prioritize your health and your finances. That's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. Yes, Tanisha. Hi, Tanisha. All right. So let's get back to that strategy that I was told I was being irresponsible about. So just right there, you got two strategies. One, do paperless. If you know you get financial anxiety around every time a bill comes to your house and you don't do nothing but stack it, get paperless. Write thank you on all of your vendors and contractors, because you can't lay no cable, nor can you run these pipes. So the individuals that you do business with are your vendors and your contract. You're contracting with them. So that's how you begin to shift from this victim mindset to a victor mindset in your household, because you are, ladies, the CEO. Even if you're married, girl, quiet as it's kept, many of us not only had our own job, probably a couple of side hustles, and we're going to get away from that term and that language as well, but we was raising the kids, making sure they was in school, taking all the doctor's visits, and we was managing all the household finances. One, because of weaponized incompetence, but two, girl, sometimes we was control freaks. We didn't let them help us with the bills and managing it. Okay, somebody say amen. All right. So I recommended to these women who are in transition. Again, they're in recovery. They are in dependency, post addiction. They're trying to get their life together, probably up to their necks in debt. Call all of your contractors, the people that you contract with, to make sure that the digital shows come through. Mortgage, right? Your rent. These are vendors. Call each one of them. Ask for relief. You're only mimicking what the people at the top do. Remember in 2008, and remember even more recently in the pandemic, when there were a lot of relief programs. I have a good friend who was an agent with me at New York Life. They didn't pay their mortgage, I want to say I know at minimum a year, but it could have been up to 18 months. And maybe y'all have been in that program. One of them was a home saver program, but he and his wife, they were able to, he had actually gotten laid off too in the pandemic. So there was relief. Ladies, take note of that. Take the relief, receive the help when you can get it. So call the vendors. Ask them whether it is still considering, you're experiencing COVID hardship. How many of us know? Drop in the comments those individuals who are still reeling from the pandemic. COVID hardship, or if you have been impacted by the state and federal cuts to your program, there is often some relief that can be given. Call your vendors and ask them, can you have relief? It's always a no if you never ask. And you let them know, look, I am in transition. My husband just lost his job. I just had to take my mother in. Y'all, we're talking about stuff that people really are dealing with. Rent has gone up $500. Real, true story. My federal contract was unfunded. Real, true stories. Instead of thinking, oh, I should know how to do this. Oh, I should know better. When you're handling a lot of life, making that phone call puts you in the driver's seat. It gives you a sense of control. Renegotiate the terms of any agreement, credit card statement, mortgage statement. It doesn't matter. Call your vendors like you are the CEO of your household and work out and revisit the terms and agreements. For many of the mortgages, especially those of you who might have been impacted by the federal cuts, do a loan modification. Yes, thank you, Marjorie. Do a loan modification. All they're going to do is take them missed notes you had, tack them on at the end. Have the conversation. Take the responsibility. It's not your fault, but you do have to take responsibility. Call the peoples and work out something. Even if it's, hey, can I shift my due date or my payment date? That gives you sometimes 30 days relief. And already have in your mind solutions that are going to work for you, right? You don't have to wait for them to give it if they don't have it, if they don't have the relief or program in place, because they're now businesses, they need to make money too off of you, right? So they might not have anything. Already have one or two solutions in your mind that will work in this situation with your contractors, with your vendors. Then this is what you do. You take 30 to 90 days and you stack up those expenses that you would have normally been paying. Again, this is for folks in transition who may have been cut hours. Stack that money up for 30 to 90 days to give you some breathing room, to redistribute the money in your household, to make or to give you the feeling that you're back in the driver's seat. Get the relief, the same relief that we were giving the automobile companies and the banks. Sweetheart, you can get that same kind of bailout. You'll have to initiate it though. Don't drown. Make the call. Renegotiate the terms of your agreement. Make sure you even got a signed copy of that agreement. Hello. Some of the credit gurus in our circle have a lot to say about the things that we think we're supposed to pay, especially in a downturn economy. Believe it or not, the law is on your side, but you got to know the law, right? The truth will not set you free. Truth does not set you free. Knowing the truth sets you free. So that's one strategy that I was sharing last week in Baton Rouge at the LACE Act conference, that for individuals who are at their wits' end, if it means you can stave off a breakdown over a bill, girl, call these people and say, hey, you're not going to get your money for 90 days. I got to see about me first. Stack that money. Then, after you have negotiated those terms, start back. But now you might have a larger emergency fund. You might also have a mental health fund, because I encourage every Black woman who is leading an organization, who is leading a movement, who is running even her household, to have a mental health fund. Why? Because if you got children, and if you're a caregiver, the primary caregiver for your spouse or a parent, there might come a day when PTO runs out, when FMLA runs out, when you've been taking and missing so many days that you hear the whispers that they're going to lay you off. You need, in addition to an emergency fund, you need a mental health fund. You could even call it your freedom fund. That just in case I get tired of looking at y'all this morning fund. So when I shared with the crowd last week in Baton Rouge at the LACE Act conference that their clients that they work with, the people they serve who are in addiction and recovery, for them to stack up their money 90 days and tell these contractors and vendors to catch a beat. One lady raised her hand, y'all. She was like, it just sounds irresponsible. And I said, and it may, and that's okay. But when you have people who are on the brink of losing everything, irresponsibility might be where they are. And just because that's where they are does not mean they should not get grace. It doesn't mean that they should not get the relief that this country is affording every other individual. This population and women who are in transition, who are bouncing back from burnout, who are bouncing back from over caregiving, over giving, over functioning. They're our most vulnerable population. They need the relief just like the banks and the automobile industry does. So give it to yourself, because nobody's going to do that for you. So when we talk about what is this podcast going to be about, yes, I am unorthodox, unconventional, and you can call me irresponsible. And it's not going to feel traditional. Nothing about what we have been experiencing since November and really since the beginning of time has been traditional. If you ask Harriet, I don't think she would say she was traditional. I think she would be insulted if you told her she was conventional. So we're not doing that. It might not look like Susie Orman or Dave Ramsey, something they would co-sign, but baby, it's working. And we're going to start with the first thing that most of the, your preachers, your pastors, your consultants, and your coaches will tell you. What's the first thing you got to start with? What's the foundation of any strong financial house? Let us know in the comments. What's the first thing you got to get right? I'll wait. I'm like Cat Williams. I'll wait. I'm going to play with my cute hair. What's the first thing? Drop in the comments. Y'all gonna make me answer that like it's your show. Baby, the first thing you got to get right is your mind. First thing, you got to get that mind tight so you can get that money right. It's called income. Income produces the right outcome. Income. I'm so cute, sis. Yes. Yes, thank you. I'm gonna highlight that one because and is balance. I love it. I love it. You gotta get in balance, but you gotta start with that mind side. And it's sometimes it ain't even mindset, y'all. It's really just income produces the right outcome. Yes, Coach Cassie. Yes. Sometimes we get so stuck on, I gotta get my mind right. I gotta stop worrying about. Look, until you can do that, do some very simple strategies. My mind had to catch up, but I had to start, right? So we got to start with the mindset because behavior follows belief. Behavior follows belief. When I talk about things with our sons sometimes, I know this even with myself, that I don't really know that I can do a thing or even that I am courageous enough to even try a thing, even though I have heard it over and 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 over again. It's not until I take the action, Lisa. It's not until I change my behavior that I can start embodying, right? And my favorite word for 2025, congruent. I can say, oh yeah, this is good. I'm gonna write thank you on all my bills. I'm gonna go paperless. I'm gonna do this, that, and that. I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna write that down, Coach K. I'm gonna write that down. That sounds real good. You right, amen. Call these people. I'm gonna tell them they ain't getting no money for 6 months. But if we never take action, it's the action that lets us know that we believe what we heard, right? Change behavior. We're going to address in this podcast series, Real, Resourced, and Rested. We're going to address the trauma and the triggers, not just the transactions. Honey, the reason that sometimes, y'all, we are not the best we want to be with our finances, because we're all good with the work. But sometimes it's simply because you just didn't have the tools. And there's no shame in that. Think about it. Research says that in our body right now, in our molecular makeup right now, I have to remember looking at this right here. I'm looking at y'all and then myself. In our molecular composition, there are 14 generations of beliefs, wins, triumphs, challenges, struggles. 14 generations. What was 14 generations doing back then? Somebody let me know. What was 14 generations of folks that resulted in you? What were they doing 14 generations ago? I'm gonna drink my water. I think it might be a lag, so I can't be waiting for y'all to answer. I'm gonna tell y'all. They was working for free, is what they were doing. So, do you think? Yes. I just didn't wait long enough, Coach Cassie. Yes. Yeah. So, do you think an enslaved people who worked without breaks and without rest for free, do you think that their great children might have an issue with over functioning, overworking, and not getting paid their worth? Do you think? What do y'all think? And so then you come up, you get your degrees. K-12, they spend all that time with y'all. 9 months, 12 years. Didn't even teach you how to do a tax return. And put you out in the world. Made you sign a W-4 and put you back on the block. They just put you right back on the block to the highest bidder. Then you start working for the government, right? So we got to honor that, shift from that, honor our spiritual lives without bypassing financial stewardship too. So, according to American Express, and y'all look into American Express, we got to look into them, Coach Cassie, because they be giving away the funds. They still giving away the funds, not the block, Mercy. Yes. Back on the block. We just got back on the block. That's all we did. But we're going to get free in this podcast series, right? So, according to American Express, State of Women-Owned Businesses report, Black women are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs. We hit that mark in the pandemic. So I know of the 300,000 Black women that have been released from the workforce. I ain't seen the numbers yet, but I can guarantee you, y'all, a fourth of them probably selling bust downs and lashes. Already had, I pray to God that some of them already had some contracts already working, taking their resources, their talents, and their genius elsewhere. That's what I did. That's what Marjorie did. That's what Coach Cassie did. Okay? So, even though we are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in the U.S., we still underfunded, underpaid, and often overwhelmed. We're leading nonprofits, ministries, movements, but many of us still don't have the margin to rest. We don't have the safety net to fail. Okay, somebody. Or the freedom to tell the truth about how hard it really is. During this podcast series, we're going to talk about why we not sharing more about just something simple like how much we earn. I can tell you, I've earned 6 figures. I've also been negative 600 on the 6th day of the month. If you've been listening to me any amount of time, you were probably saying that along with me, because that was the reality. It was tough. I borrowed money from family. I was in between jobs, homeschooling children, bouncing back from mental health challenges, bouncing back from burnout, all of that. And so when we talk about the conversations that we're going to be having during this series every other Thursday, 7 o'clock here on all of the platforms of Women for Progress, the conversation is not optional, particularly in this season that we're in. It's urgent. So we're going to do some real work together. For many of us, we're taught to fear money. We're taught to worship work. Fear money, worship work. Come on, somebody. We were taught that. And if we don't slow down and interrogate the beliefs we're living by, we'll mistake exhaustion for excellence and burnout for being blessed. I'll say that again. If we don't slow down and take a beat and interrogate and question every belief that we've had about work and money, then we will mistake exhaustion for excellence and burnout for being blessed. Because we're often told just to get over it, get pushed through it, you'll be fine. But if we're honest, a lot of us not fine. And honestly, it sounds like a lot what Coach Cassie just said. Think about it. It sounds a whole lot like slavery. Back then, our ancestors were told, just work harder. Don't worry about your pain. Don't worry about your children. Just survive. And now, even with our degrees, the resources that we have available to us, the Google access, the ChatGPT AI explosion, we're still enslaved to that same script. And our work ethic, it don't look much different than it did 200 years ago. So here's my question. Are you still carrying slavery in your savings account, in your schedule, in your silence? Ask yourself, am I performing freedom while living like a mule? We say Black women gotta work. Ain't no time to sit down. But give that script now. I'm gonna get y'all right here. Give that same script to white women, and now it sounds abusive. Suddenly it sounds abusive. Celia, raise these children, work that field, don't complain. And yet we accept it, nay, normalize it. We preach it to each other. We even use words like hustling and grind. It might be so hard on us because it's not our natural nature. Okay. We got the degrees, we got the salaries, and we're still working to prove ourselves. We're still working like we ain't allowed to stop. But listen, even though we have to unlearn that measuring our worth by how much we can carry, that's got to stop. We didn't get rest in slavery. So if we didn't get rest in slavery, and you're not getting rest now, what's the difference? What's the difference? And for those of you who are neurodivergent, your nervous system needs a break. You got to figure out fast how to live the soft life. Coach Cassie says, first of all, I didn't know it was going to be this level of violence on this show. Yes, we friend, girl. We're not gonna do much violence. I hope it's freeing for people. That's what we're gonna do. This is the Liberation Lounge, okay? But ask ourselves, if we didn't get the rest back then and we're not getting it now, what's the difference? What's the difference? We're going to talk about how to live a fuller life with less, right? We're when we ask ourselves what the difference is, if we're still tired, still proving, still performing, and the folks we bring on week after week, week after week, week after week, because it just won't be me up here, right? They're going to be telling you the same thing I'm sharing with you tonight, and that is to let it fall. Y'all, it had to fall all the way down for me, for it to fall together. Yes. Look, I was at Fertile Ground earlier tonight. It was a meeting of entrepreneurs. It's called Connect. It's hosted by Innovate Mississippi. And one of the young ladies who was that I ran into, have been seeing her, really grew up with her for years. She's also an entrepreneur, of course. And she heard me some time ago talk about NeuroNest. And that's my new app, AI-powered app for neurodivergent entrepreneurs who want to eliminate burnout and overwhelm. And she was like, based on what you were saying, every time I hear you, girl, it sounds like, girl, I might be ADHD too. I was like, girl, if you ain't in the rat race, you probably are. You know, I think since the pandemic, more and more women, right, have determined, even if they have not been assessed, they are self-assessing, self-identifying, self-diagnosing, that what the research, now come on with the research, what the research now is showing, that the first people, okay, were neurodivergent. And it just means, y'all, that we're wired differently. We think and move and process information differently. Okay. But most of the folks that were the founders of this civilization all over the world were. It was because of colonization, mass colonization, fake supremacy, because I don't like saying white supremacy because they not supreme. You see what I'm talking about when we just use language? It's white delusion is what it is. Okay. It was when mass colonization came that people were forced to operate and go against their natural, innate drive, their God genius, how their brains were wired. Because come on now, you can't tell me somebody neurodivergent did not create them pyramids. You ain't seen it since, right? Since mass colonization. Come on now. It was because of that people had to conform to systems. Rigid, unforgiving. They were not trauma informed, nor were they recovery minded. It was because of that. And so give yourself some grace. Show yourself some love. And if it needs to fall and break all the way down, let it. Get the support. I'm a witness that even when they're falling apart, they're falling right into place where they need to be. So I want to leave you with some thoughts. And think about this as y'all are going through the weekend. What belief about rest, work, or money do you need to unlearn today? Because if it's not working for you, that means you are harboring a belief, not a fact. It's just a reality, and it can be confusing. I think people hold truths, beliefs as synonymous, truth and facts. It can be a fact, but it probably ain't true. What do you think about rest? Whatever belief you have about rest, It's not your fault. It's not even our mama's fault. It's not even our grandmama's fault. It's not our great grandmama's fault. It's not our great 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 grandmama's fault, right? That we have this definition of rest. And if you're not experiencing it, it's because you're holding on to a fact, a reality, but it might not be the truth. What belief about work do you have? Most of us grew up with working mothers. That might be all we know. That was our model. We did it. They did the best they knew how to do, because guess what? What was modeled from her mother and her mother. And again, 14 generations. Yeah, somebody got a blower out there while I'm trying to do my podcast. What model did they have? What plan did they have? They had the same 14 generations that we had. But now we have an opportunity to breathe life differently, to move differently, because quiet as it's kept, if we don't find a way to rest, those incidents that are reported for us, the high rates of high blood pressure, hypertension, diabetes, lupus, PCOS. Y'all, I had never heard of that before, if I can be honest, before the pandemic. Then if we as Black women don't find opportunities to balance, as my girl, what was it, Tanisha said, if we don't find a way to recreate the income, to stop, as Coach Cassidy has taught all of us, to relinquish the cape, we know what the outcome is. Income, outcome. So ask yourself over the weekend, what are my ideals that I'm currently holding? And you don't even have, it might not come up for you like, oh, that's my issue, I need to rethink that. If it's not coming up for you, you know what telltale sign you have? Look what you have. Look what I have. Before I could get my money right, as I am getting my money right, because it never ends, y'all. It never ends. Quiet as it's kept, I found out a huge tax mistake we just made the other day. We're always learning, right? Always investigating. We're giving ourselves grace the entire time, right? So it's okay that you did not miss, or you missed the pitfall. You hit a roadblock. You hit a landmine. That's what we're here in this podcast to do. To navigate, get real about our thinking around rest, our thinking around work, how we worship work, and give less significance to the money that we're giving to the work. I mean, just that. Look, sis, as I minister to y'all, I minister to myself. I want us to dissect that one. Think about the times in your life where you worship work. Look around what you have. And I'm not talking about the physical things when I say look around what you have. Look around at your life, the people, the circle, the the work that you're doing? Are you worshiping the work and giving yourself a pass when it comes to the money associated with the work? Y'all, that's an imbalance. And where there is imbalance, we're going to have, as Black and brown women, these higher rates, these incidences of physical and mental health breakdowns. There's a direct correlation to it. Income, physical health, income, mental health. So goes the income, so goes the outcome, so goes our mental fitness, so goes our physical fitness. We're going to talk about the marriage between the two. And I'm a big, Coach Cassie will tell you this, I'm a big proponent of 1%. A book by Jeff Olson, Olsen, is titled The Slight Edge. The Slight Edge. We underestimate how much 1% can do for us. In that book, Olson purports that just doing the small thing every day or consistently, how it yields massive success. And for many of us, we won't even try nothing if we can't succeed at it the first time. Amen. Not that I'm talking about myself. Okay, somebody told me that. Y'all, I wouldn't even try something if I knew I couldn't already succeed at it and not look like a failure and not look like a beginner. Ooh, I wouldn't even try it. Look, I hired a trainer, right? This is a, what you call it, a byproduct of getting your money right. Because the only reason I want to get this money right at almost going on 52, y'all, is to keep me at the hospital. Lord, I just want the money right. I just want the money my children think I got. I want the money to keep me healthy. So I invested in a trainer. I invested in a year of coaching. And the reason I put off going to that gym and wanting the results now I didn't want to go to the gym, but I wanted them gym results. Remember, income, outcome. I had to do the inner work. What beliefs did I have about getting fit? I thought people in the gym were fanatics. I thought they were crazy. Income, outcome. So what was the outcome of that? Girl, overweight, medications. But all I did was just take a little action. When I bounced back a couple of years ago, I kept that thought in my head. I want to look right. I tried to do it on my own. But y'all, even when you're getting your money right and your body right, sometimes we need help. And we're going to talk about that. Ooh, that's a good one. We're going to talk about that. I can't remember which topic that would have come on, but we're going to thread that through every time. Getting the help. Ooh, 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 ooh. Black and brown women are not good at asking for the help. Witness. So I got the trainer. But the reason I didn't do it, I keep coming back to this, and I'm going to get back to Jeff Olson. The reason I didn't is because I didn't want to go through that process of the getting started, the being consistent. I wanted to be, and if I couldn't lose 50 pounds in 2 weeks, I was like, ain't no need of me trying. Income, outcome. So as a result, what did that mean? As a result, that meant my health took a lot of hits. both mentally and physically. Income, outcome. I really want y'all to seriously think about, what beliefs do I have right now that if I just made that 1% change, that shift, it could, especially when it comes to your finances, it literally could be when the bills come, like I used to do, stack them up, avoid them. And we're going to talk about the dysregulation, money dysregulation cycle. I talked about that last week in Baton Rouge at the LASAC conference. We're going to talk about how the avoidance leads to impulsive spending, leads to shame, guilt, and then hits you back into the loop. That 1% was just me saying, hey, let me just go online. I just got my mouse. Let me go look at Crunch. See what they got. Looked at it, closed it out. Another 3 months went by. All right. Then I saw my baby. He was going to the gym. Then I asked my younger son. I asked our younger son, baby, help your mama with the food. Will you help? Will you cook some meals? Because I need some help. Because guess what? I had convinced myself that since I can't do meal prep, because I don't be liking to cook, energy be low, productivity be low. I asked for help. My own child to help me with meals. Then I saw him going. I was like, Lee, I can't let this boy see me doing this. 1%. Black women ask for help. 1%. 1%. Determine what that is. Once you have interrogated your beliefs around work, around rest, around money, because that takes a lifetime, girl. I'm still doing that. Then take a small action. Small, consistent efforts over time yield massive results. It's a universal law. I didn't make it up. This is not my world. Cuss somebody else. It's just how it is. Small efforts. Small efforts. We don't have to do it big. I don't have to go in there and crush it in the gym every day. I don't have to go to the gym every day. You don't have to walk. I was talking to a young lady the other day, and thank you so much. And I want to close out with this. I got up to an hour walking today. I ain't done that in years. I'm motivated now, right? I got to get some things right. But I didn't start with an hour. I started with 10 minutes. Walking up the street 5 minutes, turning around when my timer went off, and coming back to the house. And then I built it up to 15 minutes. I didn't even go to 20. I did 15 minutes. Built that up. Then I did 30, 15 up, 15 back. I did an hour today. Snaps to me. 1% effort. Figure out what that 1% is. It might just be for you to not do what I did and get the bills and just stack them up and avoid them. The 1% could be getting them and going paperless, or getting them, taking them out the envelope. I'll come back tomorrow and look at them. One day could be just calling one vendor, one contractor. Determine what the 1% is. I thank you for tuning in. This has been good for me. I hope it's been good for you too. And I'll be here 7 to 8 o'clock. I know we're overtime. Thank you for staying here with me. And 7 o'clock every other Thursday night for Real Resourced and Rested. Thank you again for Women for Progress for bringing this series to the women. And with that, signing off. Love you more.